So you are upstairs right now, asleep. You've been asleep for a while after I tucked you in, each of you individually, and read to you and drew with you and talked about the drawing that you were making of dogs. And you're going to make a story out of them. You're so excited about your comics that you've been working on. I put you both to sleep. And now I'm here, downstairs, across the way, in the garage, at my table, where I often come to play music and to be alone sometimes and think and do other activities, maybe draw, maybe paint. But lately, just mostly music. And that's what I want to talk about. So this video is for my children, and my thought is I want them to watch it when they're around my age, maybe around 20 years from now, when they have kids and when they need to find some way to understand and contextualize the new moments that they're encountering in their life. So this is for my children, and you're welcome to watch it, but I'm now addressing my cute little sleeping little babies upstairs. You know that I love music, and you know that I've always been excited to show you the music that I love, and I've never listened to any of that like kids bop crap. Music is so important to me. It's been an important part of my life, an important part of the way that I contextualize the things that I encounter in life, and the way that I deal with the things that are thrust in front of me. And so I want to kind of take you on a tour of that. Okay? It's going to be fun. So I guess we should start in the beginning. I don't really have an artifact to hold up, but I can put like something on the screen right here. When I was a very young kid, maybe first and second and third, ish grades, I just listened to what my mom listened to. And so she listened to country western music. And one time I asked her why she liked country western music. She said, because it does not curse as much. So she was afraid of rap and rock and roll, and so she found solace in country. That's why I liked country when I was a kid. I remember being in third or fourth grade, being introduced by a little. Oh man, it was a cassette tape, and it was something about some metal compilation. But on it was oh man, this one song. If I could only remember it, it's by Twisted Sister. Yeah. Bang your head, raise the dead. That's what it said. The lyrics. And I remember walking down my hallway on the way to recess and just singing that song and thinking it was so rock and roll and so cool, because all I had ever heard really in my life was country western music. And I was like, bang your head. Wake the dead. That's like the coolest thing I had ever heard at my life at that time. But anyway, so it is this cassette tape, and I wish I could hold up a cassette tape, but I've never even I don't own anymore. They don't exist. But I have other artifacts. So I learned about rock and roll, and then my uncle, or your uncle, my brother, taught me about punk.
You may be shocked to see what happens when punks get together for a night of music and mayhem.
And so I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of my punk rock records that I used to listen to, but I do have a few. So these are sorry, I wasn't speaking into the mic directly. These are some CDs. This is a band called Countervail. This is a band called Zao, Converge, and Waxwing, punk and hardcore metal bands that I was in love with when I was a teenager. So when I was a teenager, I was full of angst and full of aggression and full of emotion. Very sensitive boy, I guess you would say in these days. But you wouldn't say that back then. You would just say I had an attitude or something. But anyhow, I also was in a band. This is a CD that we made. It was called Second Option. And I guess there's like a bunch of tombstones everywhere. And then the bottom, it says, Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? And the reason it says that phrase is because your uncle, again, we both grew up in a very reserved, sheltered Christian, ultra reserved Christian home. We never knew about anything until we had to steal our rock and roll and hide it under our pillows. And so this is actually a Bible quote, I think, from somewhere that my brother came up with because he was struggling with his own rebellion against the Christianity or godness or whatever it was. And he put a God quote that sounded heinous on a metal record. And so it was kind of interesting looking back now that he did that. Oh, let me open it up and see what's in there. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry, kids. Oh, you probably cuss now. You're older. Okay. This is so cool. There's this artist that used to do these double exposure things, and there's analog art, but I loved it so much, so I repurposed it. I stole it. I always told you to steal, guys. Steal all your art. And I took it and put it in a gatefold and made lyrics for my band. I can't wait to read these. I should read these on this video. Oh my gosh. This song is called Come Tomorrow. I'll be really quick. Come tomorrow. Pondering in my sleepless hour of tests to come and those passed by, stranded on my isle of indecision, looking, searching for a light to guide me through the darkness, hoping, not knowing for certain. Wouldn't it be wonderful to soar on spread wings? The world is mine to own. I don't want it. It's in parentheses, I don't want it. I would let you in, but it's so cold in here. Worried, unable to speak. I was severely depressed as a kid. Looking back now, it's so funny to see this stuff. I was so sad as a kid. Everybody thought I was just quiet or easygoing or whatever. Anyway, but I was into hate metal and wrote dark ass lyrics. Anyway, eventually I became more involved with Jesus, and that made me happy for a while. And then we stopped being involved with Jesus. But this thing is a guitar, and your mother, about a few years ago, convinced me to take it out from under the bed, out of the case, the dusty case that it was in, and hang it on the wall so that we would have it just always there. All right, your battery's blinking. I'm going to press pause. Life keeps on changing. You tell it to stay still, but it won't listen. I just want you near me like you are now, for good. See that? Transistor tape recorder, tell me about everything that I've lost. I know you got it all stored somewhere, at least I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Okay. And then it really started to all kind of change and maybe even reform when your mother wisely encouraged me to take this thing right here out of the suitcase, the guitar case thing that it was in under my bed, collecting dust, and just hang it on the wall. Make no promises, but just hang it on the wall. And I this is really key thing that I learned is that if you keep the things that you want to do and be close to you, proximity, physically, then they're going to be more influential in your life. So just because it was so easy to grab it off the wall instead of dig it under the bed and pop it open, the case, so it's a lot more accessible if you hang it on the wall. Just grab it and start jamming. And I did, and my fingers, grew calluses, and I got faster and better, and I learned how to do this and that technique. And I just really started to fully immerse myself into that feeling again, that feeling of putting myself out there as a musician and trying to express musically. But this time I never tried to write my own songs. All of this other stuff that I ever played with all of my bands, this is only one of the bands. Oh, you know what? I have something. Here we go. This This is a giant poster. I've shown you this if you're my kids. I've shown you this before. It's is a poster of me kind of like in a frog position. Um, and I'm like in the middle of like a really intense concert scene because I was the front man of this hardcore heavy metal band, and I didn't have an instrument other than a microphone, and I would sling that thing around like a wild man and just jump off the stage and act like an animal. And it was awesome. It was such a great release from my aggression and my confusion and my rage and my guilt and my shame, and just threw it out there, and it was awesome. I needed it so much. I loved it so much. But I was always like clashing against that kind of like thing of what do I want to portray in my art, and what do I want to kind of obey in my life, in my orthodoxy or whatever it was. And this was kind of an expression, because like we could be hardcore heavy metal, but we were also straight edge, right? So we didn't drink or have sex or do drugs or anything like that, because it was a good cross section of those two things, an outlet for my anger about all of my repression, and also an opportunity to keep performing as a repressed person. So it was really kind of like at the time. Anyway, we were talking about instruments. So after I started playing this for a while, and I was like, yes, I really love this thing, I wanted to start learning piano. And so I've always started just, playing around with synthesizers. I downloaded an app from Korg, which is a music. Did you hear something? Like a bird? Which is like a music program for a computer. I don't know what they have it in 30 years if computers still exist. But anyway, they made synthesizers, this company called Korg. If Korg doesn't still exist. This is so much fun. I love talking about the future. I love talking to the future. You're the future. I'm not, but we're talking anyway. So Korg makes this software that helps you understand how sound works, like synthesis and sound modeling. And I learned about, what is a filter and what is a cutoff, and what is a frequency, and like what is like an oscillator, and what is an envelope, and all these things. And that was like pretty weird and pretty cool, but also like very mathematical and strange to me. But I liked it, and it was interesting. And there was one of the modules inside of that app that was like, you could like take one wire and plug it into here, and it would change things. And I was always like, oh my gosh, oh, which wire? And it was just a drag and drop kind of UI. It's so silly. Even if they have UIs in the future, it was silly. But I loved it. It was so much fun, and it looked cool, and it made me feel like I knew something, because I would notice what changed, like I'd take the thing from here, and then it would kind of get more or something, like more noisy or more, quiet or something, or pulse differently. After a while of that, I got really heavy into painting, and this is when, directly when we were kind of trying to exit that religious structure and try to free our minds. I started painting quite a lot, and meanwhile playing performances on like not YouTube directly, like not this YouTube channel that I'm hosting this video that you're watching this in the future on, if YouTube exists. Hey, does YouTube exist? Like 30 years? Nah, probably YouTube doesn't exist. I hope you can download YouTube before YouTube crashes. I don't know. Or the zombies get it. I put a lot of cool stuff on YouTube. A lot of years making cool stuff for YouTube. I started even like playing guitar on Instagram under the moniker of something like "Good Songs Sung Badly," because I'm not a good singer. Blood lost in a bathroom stall, Southern girl with a scarlet draw. Wave goodbye to Ma and Paul with birds I share. Because I'm not a good singer, but I love singing. I love the feeling of singing. I love how the energy can just come through. Like, I don't think there's any other way to express yourself musically other than, like, there's no higher way other than allowing the vibration to come through you. Maybe like if you were inside of an electrical current, that would be cool. We're going to get to that later. So I want to talk more about my musical journey. After a while of guitar and learning synth on the computer, I started to, actually I saw this one YouTube channel, speaking of YouTube, called Funkle or something crazy. And it was like with this one night where I was just doing dishes, and and it was just hands, these two hands, and they were playing these four little boxes, these machines. And I didn't know what they were, and I was confused and weird, but I knew that I saw a Korg label, and I was like, I'm familiar with Korg, and so I started looking up at what these things were, and I found out, and I bought my first one, and it's actually, it's right here. This is a Korg Volca, and it's a sample sequencer. Basically, fundamentally what it does is it takes little sound files. Can you guys hear in the future, or do you just telepathy everything, or just like future think everything to each other through black holes? Like, what's 30 years from now look like? I don't even know. Anyway, here we have music, and this one here, you take these little computer files and you line them up. You line them up on these steps in time. Do you guys have time in the future? Holy fuck! You line them up in time, and then we can probably press play right now. There's probably something in here because it actually has a speaker in the back. Let me press play. That's dope. That's dope. I've been working on that one. That's actually a preview for something for if you're watching this in the now, not the future. That's a preview for something that's coming up. But anyway, I got really into these Volca things. In fact, I got 6 of them. I got so excited about it. And you know how I am. Like when I get excited about something, it's like the thing that keeps me from thinking about, or the other, like, I want to think deeply about the things I love and the people I love. So eventually, after Volcas, after these like little machine here, I kind of also got into these things. These are called pedals. These are effects pedals. Usually they're used for guitars, but you can also use them for any kind of audio, whether it be just singing or other instruments, including my little Volcas. So I've been playing music through these, and this one includes effects like making it sound brighter or shinier, or this one here is not just an effects pedal but also a looper, which is so cool. I've always been fascinated with this idea of being able to add and take away from layers of the things that you're making and like have it all be conducted. Because remember when I saw that Spec Funkle, the captivating thing wasn't just the music. It was good music. It was cool. I was like grooving, washing dishes, but I was also captivated by the way this hands just danced over the controls, just like controlling everything. And it was a whole band, a whole like 10-piece band. You know, he had a sampler, and he had a synthesizer, and he had a, you know, like a drum machine, and it was amazing. And it was really, really amazing. And I said, I don't know what's going on, and I just want to be there. I just want to do that. And you know, your mom came out, I remember, to kiss me on the head and go goodnight. Sometimes when I get obsessed, like, you know, tonight, I'm often doing this late at night. But anyway, she kissed me goodnight. She was like, what is that? And I pulled out my headphones and I showed it to her, and I was babbling on how I usually do when I get too excited about any one thing. Yeah, so that's what happened. Pedals, let's see, after the pedals happened, these are cool. Like, I like this stuff because a lot of these Volcas and these machines, these are battery powered, so I can take them outdoors. On this YouTube channel, kids, there's stuff where I'm traveling around. When I was traveling around a lot when you were younger, when, you know, I would take these things. I would take them across the world. This has literally been around the world. And I've played it in different cities that I visited and recorded it there. And I've tried to like use that location to inspire the type of beat. But what's interesting, actually, particularly about this machine, is that this machine is commonly used in a type of music that I love and have always been inspired by ever since I discovered it. And it's at this time, it's relatively youngish, but I'm sure maybe it doesn't exist or exist in some other form in the future, because, you know, that's how things work. But it's called lo-fi hip hop. And if you want a little bit of a history, because I like history and I love talking about history and this junk, I mean, in fact, I'm telling you about my personal history. So, you know, tonight, you know, while we were waiting for your friend to bring you home from an activity that you were at, sweetheart, your mom was tired today. She did a lot, like 14-hour work day, and she was very tired. And I was just laying in bed while she was falling kind of asleep, just telling her about the rule of the Mongols. So I do like history, and I like how things connect and help us understand why we are in the positions that we are in. And similarly, how this kind of involves in that is that this is a tool that's commonly seen in today's sub pop culture of lo-fi hip hop. We take hip hop samples, 1990s style, like maybe like New York East Coast kind of like, Wu-Tang, Biggie, kind of like that kind of stuff. Do they have Wu-Tang in the future? Of course they do, because if Wu-Tang is always for the children, right? People have been grabbing those kind of like beats and then even older jazz samples from back in the day.
I think there must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not here.
Before hip hop was formed into how it is now, and classical piano samples, and not just like people who have a stake in that heritage that came, from the places where they have a rich heritage in that culture of music, like jazz and blues and hip hop and rap and things like that, where sometimes I, as a confused and angsty youth, as I've already explained how really weird my childhood was, as a grown-up now, looking back, it was very, very confusing as a kid. But music played a big part in that. I fell in love with Wu-Tang. I could rap to you right now every lyric of Methodical, Bring the Ruckus, all these 36 Chambers. Oh my life. Anyway, so this machine has enabled me to kind of like feel involved in a culture that I really respect and love, and I'm able to take and remix the synthy kind of sounds that I've been building with these other kind of machines, and remix it into a lo-fi kind of feel that's kind of actually trendy and kind of cool right now. And maybe even some people might think it's a little played, but right now I just feel like it's really good for me. It's chill, it's vibey. It reminds me of that place where I was discovering other things and feeling like there was a bigger world out there for me. So, and hip hop and rap did that for me as a person who was kind of told what the world looked like and what my place was in it. These other kind of like more different, like adjacent cultures, and discovering just even a little, just a peek into that world that they, how they portrayed it, helped me to understand that the world is bigger. And I think that's such an important lesson. And music does that. It really takes the existence and the experience of one person and just makes it ambiguous. It kind of it takes away the specificity and makes it available to everybody. I was listening to an interview by Thom Yorke. He's the frontman of Radiohead. Radiohead is an amazing music band from my era. Please look it up. Also look up Led Zeppelin from way back then. By now, you need to listen to Led Zeppelin. I'm creating like a synthy, lo-fi, hip-hop vibe lately on this YouTube channel. What I'm really most about in 2020, this is kind of what I'm excited about. Let me hold this up. It's kind of bigger. Okay, so this is the synth that I'm building myself. Now this is exciting because a lot of this discovery of music and how sound works and stuff, it's still very prescribed. It's still very sent through the lens of the manufacturer or the music style. For example, I mentioned how the 404 right here is heavily used in a specific type of lo-fi hip hop, and maybe that the Pt.1 over there is maybe used in a little bit of more commercially pleasing YouTube video styles of comic relief and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But the point is, I'm excited about this right now because I get to assemble this how I want it, and I have a plan. I've been thinking about it a lot of like how I want to assemble this instrument. This is one of the most unique instruments out there because it's completely mine. The system is called Eurorack. I don't know. Oh, this is cool. Yeah. In 30 years from now, does Eurorack exist? Do synthesizers exist? I'm not sure if they would matter if sound doesn't exist because you guys are all living the energies anyway, right? You've all like uploaded yourself into servers, whatever. I'll be talking about this soon, and I guess that brings us up to date, guys. Listen, I want to talk to you for real. Let me check your battery first. You seem to be cool, and looks like we're recording audio. So, all right. Before we end though, guys, I want to talk to you for real. Music has always been for me a hidden expression, and me making this channel and sharing this work and these ideas and also my discovery path, right? Like, so the synthesizer stuff, it's not me like perfecting something in a closet and then sharing it with the world and winning 1 million bonus points. It's me just kind of like wanting to open up about the thing that I've been hiding for so long, the thing that I've been hiding inside of. It's always been this container that I could jump inside and experience something different, experience something other than my own, because I was trapped in this own little world that I had no idea really how to express, that I didn't even know that I didn't want to be there. I'm going through a lot of therapy right now, guys. Just sometimes with counselors and sometimes just with myself and books, but I'm working on some things. And 2020 is awesome. I think 2019 was one of the most transformative years of my life, and so far. And I've learned in the past maybe 6 to 8 months to really love you, to really love every experience that I have with you in both, like when we go just to dinner or go to the skate park together, or picking up from school, or helping to teach your art classes, just wrestling, just showing you my instruments, talking to you about these things. I know that you don't love them as much as I do, and that's okay. You don't have to love anything as much as I love anything, as long as you know that I love you. Sorry, now I'm ranting to my children on my YouTube video, but this is but thanks for watching, anybody who watches, but also, hey guys, I love you deeply. And no matter what happens, like when you're watching this, when you're older, if I'm around, I love you. If I can't express it well, or you know what happens in 30 years, nobody knows what happens, but you're absolutely loved right now. And you can know that. You don't need to hide it inside of anything, because you're accepted. You're fully accepted for anything that you want, anything that you do, and anything that you want to become or try. Okay. All right. 2020 is going to be a great year, and we'll look back on it in 30 years when you guys watch this video and let me know how it actually turned out. Give me a call. I miss you. Your mom misses you. I love you. I love you both. And that's how I'm going to end the video.